This program is brought to you by the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. We provide the professional expertise, tools, and information necessary to help you make sound business decisions. Thank you to the U.S. Small Business Administration for co-sponsoring our program and to our host organization, the University of Kentucky. Contact us at 502-625-0123 to get started.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Toolkit Tuesday, and today we are welcoming we're working on some tools that we want to kind of give you that you can use right away when you get back to your business. And as a business owner, one thing that's of interest to everyone is what can you do to find new customers? And so the big question we have was, how would you make the world your customer? So since 2011, the Kentucky Export Initiative have provided financial assistance to over 200 Kentucky companies through the State Trade Expansion Program, or the STEP program. And the STEP program provides a grant that can be used for a variety of trade services that support businesses as they transition and grow their business and find other customers internationally. And today we have with us, joining us, we have Mary NeCamp. She is the STEP Grant Program Manager, and I think we have her online. Mary, are you there? There you are.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Dave. Yes, I'm here.
Good to see you. So exporting is a great way to grow your business, but if you don't really know a lot about it, it's kind of a daunting task. So how do you help businesses going forward? Tell us about the STEP grant and what you do there at the initiative.
Well, my presentation today is on the STEP grant, the State Trade Expansion Program. And as you mentioned, it has been in existence in Kentucky since 2011. And we look to help small businesses grow by 100% reimbursing them for their allowable export development activities. So I'm going to talk to everybody about that today and how they can get into the program, how they can get reimbursed. And it's all very easy to do, and it's just amazing. I feel very fortunate to be in this position. I always tell everybody, because I'm giving away money. I feel like I'm telling people they've won the lottery. So it's really exciting for me, and the grant is truly a generous one. So I look forward to telling everybody about it today.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, as I mentioned with Dave, I've been in the STEP grant program has been in existence since 2011, and I originally took over as the program manager in January of this year, and have had a lot of fun with it so far, because I've been enjoying helping people to use some grant money to grow their businesses. And last week, we started to hear about the giant cargo ship, the Ever Given, and how it was lodged in the Suez Canal. And there have been a lot of interesting, funny social memes out there, but it has had some serious impacts, as it has pretty much halted the economic activity in that part of the world. And so it might cause someone to say, why would I want to export? Or I'm sure glad that's not me. I feel sorry for the people that it has impacted. But in general, exporters enjoy higher productivity. And what we mean by that is that the small businesses that are exporting, that they have more revenue than some of the other facilities. And because they have more revenue, they can afford a stronger workforce and they can pay their workers a little bit more money. And they exporters grow and become more resilient. They can withstand the highs and lows of the economy. And let me get this out of the way. So about 95% of the consumers and 84% of the spending power does reside outside the US. So there's just tremendous reasons to want to export. And one of the ways to help get started exporting, if you're not already there, is through the STEP grant. So we say, are you ready to export? Because the services and resources through the STEP grant can propel you on your way. And the STEP grant happens to be one of the best kept secrets, I always say, because there's 100% reimbursement on allowable STEP activities. And again, since 2011, we have helped over 230 Kentucky small businesses, and some of those have been repeat companies, utilize STEP funds, directly receiving over $2.2 million in reimbursements. So who can the STEP funds help? Any eligible Kentucky small business is interested in exporting products and services internationally and becoming more globally competitive. Women-owned businesses, rural enterprises, socially and economically disadvantaged veteran or service-disabled veteran businesses are especially encouraged to apply for STEP funding. And is my business eligible for the STEP grant? The Small Business Administration refers to small businesses as an ESBC. That's called an eligible small business concern. So the first thing is your business must be based, headquartered, controlled in Kentucky. If it's got an arm in Kentucky, but it's headquartered in another state, there is a STEP grant for the headquarters state. And if you have any problems getting in touch with the STEP grant director in the respective headquartered state, I can help you make that connection. And your business must have been in business for at least 1 year. And you can use this link for the size standards tool to measure. This will also appear on the first page of the grant application. And just so you know that one of the questions they ask about the size standards is you're going to need to know your 6-digit NAICS code for your company. So here's you can get the NAICS through the Census Bureau website. All right, well, I have broken the cardinal rule of creating PowerPoints by putting too much information on a slide. And I would just tell you up front that there are several slides that are going to be like this because there are 9 of these categories of reimbursements that were provided by the SBA. And I just thought that we would go through them kind of in detail, because it's in the details that you might be getting a reimbursement. So one of the first things is the payment of website fees, and you can build or enhance an online e-commerce platform that could include website translations for foreign markets. I think that's great. You know, plenty of times where you've got it in English, and it kind of is one of those things that can work overnight for you when you have it translated to another language. If you consider internationally that other countries may be up looking at your website while you're sleeping. You can set up a web store, a mobile app to create and sell your products. Things like Amazon services, Walmart Marketplace, Alibaba, and Flipkart are reimbursable. You can get reimbursed for the platform to process your online payments and orders. And also recently added by the SBA was the e-commerce cybersecurity benefit and translation of marketing media, including audio and video. Moving right along, we've got the design of marketing media, and that's the ability to promote a product or service to strengthen your export sales potential, ability to reach target audiences and or expand export market opportunities. This may be considered during or part of your participation in a trade show or a trade mission. So examples could include a trade event publication, online and or digital advertising for or during the trade event. It covers things such as posters, pamphlets, flyers, brochures, even things like website advertising. And it even starts to cover things like billboards, newspapers, banners, other print media, and digital advertising. So very generous. The trade show exhibition. This has probably been one of the most popular ones over the years, no doubt, and it stalled during the COVID pandemic, and it's starting to pick up a little bit more now. I'm starting to get some requests for travel, and it's really a good one, because when you consider how expensive it is to register for a trade show, we can cover a lot of that expense. So the trade show is defined by the SBA as an exhibition to showcase and demonstrate your products and services. It includes foreign trade shows appropriate for export development, and it also includes domestically held trade shows with the intent and purpose to promote U.S. products and services. And attendance must include international buyers. So that's the key there, is we want to see international buyers of this, because you got to remember the STEP grant is to promote exporting internationally. And also, not only in person, these exhibitions and services can be conducted in a virtual setting. So examples of reimbursement expenses could be the registration fees, fees for shipping samples, and the SBA has capped that fee for shipping sample products to $4,000. Your trade show internationally will have transportation costs such as airfare, ground transportation, parking, and taxis. And we can reimburse that for up to 2 company employees, but you will have to fly on a US flagship carrier for all your travel, unless there is no service in that destination. Say, for instance, once you get to the other continent and you have to fly from one country or one city to another, there probably wouldn't be a US flagship carrier, but we could help with that too. So the lodging is going to be the per diem lodging rate. And again, the SBA has been generous and has expanded that to cover 2 company employees. And they will cover the rental car and the fuel for the rental car. And again, this is all per diem. So, this one here, participation in training workshops led by the KEI partners. The Cabinet for Economic Development has been part of the Kentucky Export Initiative for a few years now. And we have partnerships with several agencies and other organizations. And our partners are the ones who are putting on a number of these training workshops and education courses. So for instance, the U.S. Commercial Service, the World Trade Center, and the Advantage Kentucky Alliance, those are 3 of our closest partners, along with the Kentucky Small Business Development Centers, to put on training workshops, and these workshops can be reimbursed. So they have to be a direct benefit to assist the ESBC with gaining credible knowledge of export policies, regulations, or best practices. The new to exporting company training should be part of the pipeline approach. And for the market expansion company, training should also include the new to exporting training and any other type of training or seminars offered for compliance with any U.S. export regulations. Outcomes such as export plans, certification strategies, and best practices handouts should be deliverables. So here are a number of examples of allowable expenses that would be reimbursable. So it's export compliance training from the United States Bureau of Industry and Security, which is part of the census, which is part of the U.S. Commercial Service. You can get reimbursed for this automated export system and the electronic export information. Some of this is technical exporting information. The export training registration fee and training materials, and Export Tech, which is offered by the NIST Manufacturing Extension Partnership through the Advantage Kentucky Alliance. The certification programs offered by the World Trade Centers, for example, would also be covered. Moving right along, we've got participation in foreign trade missions. So that's a foreign trade mission, of course, is a group of small businesses that travel to a foreign country to explore or expand international business opportunities. As a result of the small businesses participating in the foreign trade missions with STEP funds, trade missions are expected to yield tangible outcomes, such as seeking out potential buyers and increasing export sales volume. One staff member from the entity may participate in the mission, or if it's necessary, two maybe, to provide direct support to the small business to achieve those outcomes. As far as the reimbursement is concerned, fees for shipping sample products, again, we're seeing this, it's capped at $4,000. Transportation costs were covered, lodging is covered, the trade mission fees are covered, and translation is covered. Another one is reverse trade missions. And of course, that's when the foreign buyers come to the United States to meet with potential suppliers of US manufactured goods and services. And the proposals for this activity are limited to costs borne directly by the small businesses to participate in the reverse trade mission. And that's going to be something that would be hosted and led by the Cabinet for Economic Development. Examples would be the meeting space, the video or the virtual setup cost, and services from an individual to translate documents, interpret conversations, or facilitate multilingual transactions. And moving right along, we've got the subscription to services provided by the U.S. Department of Commerce. So again, the U.S. Department of Commerce is our partner through the Kentucky Export Initiative, and they offer some services that would be covered through the STEP grant. They're encouraged to utilize the services through the U.S. Commercial Service. This can assist the small businesses in entering or expanding a market due to a particular market demand. Let's see. The Export Research Tool subscription used to assist STEP clients with market research would be covered. Sometimes the U.S. Commercial Service will help vet a foreign business with website review, etc. Services from the local American Chamber of Commerce would be covered, and the Gold Key Business Matchmaking Service and the international partner searches and the single company promotions would be covered by the USCS. And these are particularly helpful because they will sit down with the small business owner or leader and map out for them where their best markets would be overseas and make connections for them. So really they're bringing the owner to the table, and they're doing what they call the matchmaking through the Gold Key Business Service. So it's kind of B2B. Procurement for consultancy services. This activity is only allowable after the small business consultation with the U.S. Department of Commerce to avoid duplication of services. So you would be allowed to meet with a consultant if there was something in particular that the U.S. Commercial Service wasn't able to assist you with. And the examples of what's included in that may be design and creation of an export marketing plan, market entry strategy based on a consultant's knowledge or experience in a particular market, the cost of compliance testing for an existing product for entry into an export market. And this is capped by the SBA at $6,000 per award year. Some other initiatives that the Small Business Administration will provide reimbursement for through the Cabinet for Economic Development is foreign market sales trips and subscriptions and services from a market intelligence platform that can be used to benefit the small business and are not duplicative of information available for free. So they've provided two examples of services here. It's the Wiser Trade and the Compass International. And this is a one-year pilot effective until March the 10th, 2020. So here are a few testimonials that I've asked permission to post. Alejandro Ramirez, owner of Universal Spartan in Vine Grove, Kentucky, has said that he's received multiple STEP grants and used the funds to develop top markets through services provided by the U.S. Commercial Service. The U.S. Commercial Service directly assisted with marketing development in Colombia, Israel, Egypt, Spain, and Peru, and leveraging market intelligence counseling and structured B2B matching programs, including the Gold Key service and structured introductions to prospect at trade shows. Universal Spartan gained the knowledge and opportunities to better understand market dynamics and to meet potential representatives and decision makers within the global military and law enforcement communities. Additionally, Universal Spartan conducted discussions with the United States Commercial Services initiatives Vets Go Global for best practices in intelligence. Next, Lynette Freitag, the president of Feltloom in Sharpsburg, Kentucky, says that the STEP grant helped Feltloom do business in international markets. It helped pay for compliance testing to ship into foreign markets and raised awareness for our business opportunities that are available in the world. It has been important to our small company. We've currently sold into 21 countries. So these are some success stories. The STEP grant program has been a great way to help many of my business clients opening up their marketplaces to a global stage they otherwise didn't have the means to reach. That was a testimonial by Don Skaggs with Michael T. Jones in Lexington. Sally Lawler, the owner of Valley Vista Ski Products, has said that they've used STEP funding since 2014. With it being a small family-owned business, they would not be in business without the help of the grant. Over the years, we've used the grant to help fund trade shows, ship samples to distributors and Olympic snow ski teams, pay for due diligence reports for companies who want exclusive rights in a particular country, and pay for Gold Key services. And my last testimonial is with Amy Matthews from Creek Valley. Amy says that Creek Valley has used the STEP funds to ship product samples to China to begin marketing our partners' products prior to entry into the pet industry. Reimbursement for our email service and web hosting has been another major benefit to the grant. Being able to use the resources of the STEP grant has buffered our budget. So excellent testimonies on how the STEP grant has helped companies export. So here's how you can get accepted into the STEP program and get 100% reimbursement. So as I said, it was pretty simple, really. It's not a long grant application. The forms are available on our website. And you basically will complete the STEP grant application and the export readiness assessment forms. And I do need those two pieces of information completed before we can get you into the program. The travel that we talked about, for instance, for the trade shows, needs to be pre-approved by me and my supervisor. After it's been approved, you'll receive a STEP award notification via email within a few days of submission. And the STEP funds can be spent on the export development activities that we just went over before the end of September 2021. And we're currently working on STEP year 8 and STEP year 9. And we're going to get a continuation of STEP year 9. So for now, what we have with the STEP year 8 will expire at the end of September. You can ask me any questions if you're not sure about the activity, if it's considered an allowable expense or not. And I would just suggest that you watch for the caps on the eligible expenses that I have or will send you that we just talked about. Submit the completed reimbursement request in the activity survey forms along with the receipts and the invoices. And then you'll receive an email notice that your reimbursement has been processed and dispersed. So I want you to know how globally connected Kentucky really is, in case there was any question. We have 3 worldwide air cargo hubs, UPS, DHL, and Amazon. We're ranked the 2nd in total air cargo. We have 6 commercial airports, including 2 international and over 60 regional airports. Kentucky has 10 interstates and 10 state parkways, over 2,700 miles of rail track, and over 2,000 miles of navigable waterways and 12 active or developing river ports. So Kentucky has the global logistics capacity. Be sure your products are on the plane. So Dave, do we have any questions?
We certainly do. So again, if you have any questions, that was quite a lot of information. I mean, I was kind of overwhelmed there that that the STEP grant would cover that much. I had no idea. So that was awesome. So yeah. So when I guess the first question would be, people, you have a company. How would you kind of decide whether what you do, either your product or service, is export worthy before we even contact you?
I think that the application may go a ways in helping you to make that determination. And it's also one of those things where you could apply for the grant and then perhaps enlist the services of the U.S. Commercial Service or Advantage Kentucky Alliance or the World Trade Center. And you can find out from there if you're ready for it or not. And, you know, you've been accepted into the program. So you could get reimbursed for that and make that determination with the help of those services. And also, that is one of the initial questions that is on the application through the U.S. or through the Small Business Administration is your company stable and ready for this? And that's another reason why the company has to have been in business for at least a year.
Yeah. So again, if you have any questions for the folks that are joining us today, just type it in the Q&A or the chat, and we'll see if we can answer it for you. Patricia does want to know. She says she has a janitorial service and she's bilingual, and she'd like to expand some contracts overseas. Can this STEP grant help her with that?
Possibly. The STEP grant is not restricted to any particular type of business or industry except educational services. So I would suggest a side conversation with Patricia offline, and she can reach me at any of those ways that I've got listed there, and we can talk about it. But yeah, so that's just the gist of that.
Okay. Would you talk a little bit about the grant dollars itself? So in the presentation, it says there was some notation at the bottom, you know, SBA cap at $6,000 for that particular item? How does that work? How does the actual dollars work?
Well, again, this funding comes from the Small Business Administration, and it's been approved by Congress. And Kentucky was given a grant, and the Cabinet for Economic Development also has a portion of that funding. So how do they exactly arrive at the caps? I think it's through over the year. For instance, we didn't know COVID was going to last this long. We didn't see COVID coming. And so over the past year, the SBA has worked with the STEP directors from all 50 states to say, what is the feedback from the businesses been like? If they can't use this money for trade shows and for traveling, what can we do to help them? And so they've rearranged the funding so that it's going to be the cap for, say, for instance, the e-commerce platform has been raised to $10,000. So if they're not able to attend a trade show, maybe we can help them with their e-commerce or website translations, things like that.
Is there a total limit to the amount of grant funds that you can receive?
Not at this time. The state has lifted its cap on the funding.
Okay.
So it is of particular concern that you do have to watch those SBA caps. That's what we're most concerned about. And again, the funding is due to expire and expend by the end of September 2021.
Okay. Wow. Time is short then.
Well, it's because of COVID. Everything has been a little bit at a standstill and the world's had to readjust, as we know.
Yeah. To go back a little bit, Bridget asks, so educational services are funded?
No, they're not. Educational services are not covered, and it's the only thing that's not covered. For instance, tourism could also be covered if the company can document what they're exporting and how that's benefiting them. So that's the key, is it all has to be documented.
Let's see. So you mentioned about a lot of the training opportunities early on. Would that be a good place for someone to start if you're just, just now kind of thinking about taking this first step? Prior to applying for the grant, but maybe take advantage of some of the training opportunities to kind of get up to speed on what the exporting steps would be.
Sure. Yes, I would think that, going through an agency like the Kentucky Small Business Development Centers would be a big help to get people started and help them to come to the decision whether or not they're ready to launch into exporting. And, as one of my first slides was like, exporting is really beneficial to companies. So, you should do everything you can to explore exporting and see if it's right for you, if you're ready for it, and because it can really grow a business, especially if you know how to do it. And then you have your website translated. Can you imagine what that could do for you if you had gone through the training through the World Trade Center or the U.S. Commercial Service or Advantage Kentucky Alliance or Kentucky Small Business Development Center? If you had that going for you, and then you also had your website translated, and you were able to go to a trade show, and you were able to use the Gold Key services through the U.S. Commercial Service. So it just, it's all right there. And the Small Business Administration exists to help businesses to grow. And this is just a phenomenal grant. I just can't say enough good things about it. And as you just saw for yourself, all of the activities that are covered, I say it's the best kept secret, because who wouldn't want all of that? So,
yeah. Craig asked, he says, what should I do if I want to use the grant, but my company has never exported before, but want to start exporting as soon as possible?
I think that the company should reach out to the U.S. Commercial Service, the Kentucky Small Business Development Center, and talk, or reach out to the office and we can help them apply for funds and get them into the program.
Yeah. I will say, just a shameless plug, all of the coaches at the Small Business Development Center are going through extensive training to get export certified. So reach out to any of us and we'll certainly help you with what we can and point you in the right direction when that's appropriate. So Shai wants to know, could I receive help in choosing the products that I would like to export, or do I have to be a manufacturer of the product?
That's a good question. The product does have to have a 51% US content. That's one of the questions on the application. So you will have to provide how much content is in your product. Very good question. Good point to make.
Yeah. How can I figure out what countries I should ship my product to? Can the STEP grant help me with that kind of research?
Absolutely. That's one of the services that would be offered through the U.S. Commercial Service, and STEP, that is an allowable expense that you could get reimbursed for.
Some of the things that I've learned here recently through some of the training that we've been receiving is that the United States' biggest export is not products but services. Is that right, Mary?
I don't know about that, to be honest.
I think it is. That's what they told me.
I keep up with what's going on in Kentucky with our aerospace and automotive exports and the bourbon exports and so medical device exports, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So it's if you have a service, I think that's something you can check out as well. So Denise would like to know how soon funds will be released upon application approval, or would invoices have to be submitted for reimbursement only, not awarded prior to the need?
Oh, that's another fantastic question. And so the way this works is that you apply for the grant and you're accepted into the program within a few days, as quickly as we can get it processed. And on the first page of the application, you will put the date on there and that you are certifying that you became an eligible small business concern, the ESBC that we mentioned. And that date that's on the application from that day on is when you become the ESBC. And then you can, anything that you accumulate after that, for example, the U.S. Commercial Gold Key Service or the trade show that you attend, the registration fees, all of that becomes reimbursable after that date on the application. I think that covers all of that part of that question, right?
Yeah, yeah. So here's an interesting question. He would like to know if the export product has to be a finished product, or could you export something like scrap metal, maybe?
I guess that would have to go back to, is it 51% manufactured in the US?
Mm-hmm.
I am not sure about scrap metal, if
Yeah.
that's, again, maybe we have to look into that a little deeper.
Yeah. That is an interesting question, actually. I hadn't thought about that. So, all right. So looks like that's about all the questions that we have at the moment. If you have any other questions, let's get them in under the wire there. Yep, I think that's it.
Well, thank you, Dave and Janet and Tony, for really including me in on this opportunity to promote the STEP grant. And again, I feel like I've got the best job in the cabinet, I say sometimes, because I get to give out this generous grant. So anything I can do to help your business grow, And I think I speak for the rest of the team at the Cabinet for Economic Development. Please don't hesitate to reach out at any time and let us know what you need help with.
Yeah, this is a wonderful opportunity, and there are just so many free resources that that you guys provide. And one quick other question here before we go.
Sure, yes.
After I am accepted into the program, would I have to do this full time, export full time? I would say
That's entirely up to the small business and, what works for them. Our mission is to help you get started exporting, and every company's needs are a little bit different. It's just that the Small Business Administration, the federal government, has realized that exporting helps small businesses grow internationally, or exponentially by exporting internationally, I should say. So,
right. Yeah, you make the world your customer. What couldn't be better than that, right? Well, thanks for joining us today. Again, I'm Dave Etkin, and I'm here with Mary, and I want to thank you again, Mary, for sharing all this with us. This has been great. We will share a recording of today's session with you guys today, and we'll also send the slides with Mary's contacts. Please reach out to her, and then click those links and get started on that application and figure out if you can be with Kentucky's next big exporter, which is what we'd like to see, right?
yes, we definitely. And again, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to hearing from everyone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.